So I noticed recently that Arjun Spike has one of the worst win rates. Right now, he's in the bottom third of heroes overall with a 37.3% win rate, and I was pretty surprised because I do feel like his hero power is very strong. With anchoring, he essentially lets you turn any card in the reserve into a 3-drop for 0 mana on the next turn. I like to think of it less as burning resources and more as cheating the mana system and playing them as 3-drops for free. Thinking about it like that, he's just so strong, but you do have to play him the right way, or you'd be better off using Teija Nauraa. There's not a good way to play permanents or cards that can let your deck grow in power over time, so I think you need to play this deck very aggressively and take advantage of your ridiculous stats early when a free 3-drop is a bigger deal, and win before your opponent gets their big combos going. My list's a little different from what I've seen so far. I focus on consistently getting the biggest stats early and getting Arjun's effect often in the early game, at the cost of being low on resources later. That aligns really well with the way I play this hero, and so far I've won 5 out of 6 games. I'm running Daughter of Yggdrasil and Yongsu as my best anchor targets, but I have 2 Certainous as well to increase the odds that I get a big 3-cost character. I have the rare Sneaser Shroom and common Spindle Harvester for more anchored characters and to activate Yongsu. I went with the rare Sneaser Shroom over Spindle Harvesters because Sneaser is better when you don't draw a buff, and I feel like it can be an alternate win condition if you get the right cards. I'm playing the rare Kitsune too because the boost in stats makes it a menace in half of the tumult zones, and resupply works really well. If you play this on 5, then you can use the reserve card to anchor a 3-drop. I haven't drawn it in a lot of games though, so I'll definitely want to test it some more. Spells are really good too in this deck because they go straight to the reserve and they can similarly let you set up the turn they're played. I'm maxing out on physical training, nurture, meditation training, and beauty sleep, which are all busted on their own, and they get even better with Arjun. Most of them are cheaper from hand, and then you can use them as 0-cost anchors from the reserve, so yeah, it works really well. I'm trying Acapella Training at 1 as another cheap way to get a card in the reserve. It has been pretty good, but I don't think I want to draw multiples since its main effect doesn't really help you have board presence. Inari and Pravati are decent, but they're kind of fillers for now. They can be great at times, but they're often worse than other cards in my hand, so I'll end up putting them in the mana pool. Muna Druid's pretty similar. Without Teija Nauraa's buff, it can be pretty hard to play him in most matchups, and at times you won't have enough cards in the reserve to use his effect and Arjun's, making him a little redundant. Okay, jumping into our first game with Arjun Spike. This hand's actually looking pretty good. I think Inari is one of the weaker cards, so let's put that in the mana. On our first turn, we'll probably lead out with Spindle Harvester, Physical Training, or Daughter of Yggdrasil. Let's not keep the Muna Druid around. Honestly, even though Daughter of Yggdrasil is so strong, maybe I'll just keep taking advantage of the Spindle Harvesters and hold the Pravati for turn 4. There's definitely a couple lines we could take here, but yeah, I think I'm going to go for that one. Okay, cool. Yeah, this Amelia Earhart isn't that much to worry about. We could have actually won with Daughter of Yggdrasil, Muna Druid, or the Spindle Harvester combo here, but yeah, I think I'm glad we kept the Spindle Harvester one because it's going to leave us the best board presence going into the next turn. At this point, we could play the Daughter of Yggdrasil or Pravati this turn. I think that the Muna Druid's going to be a little hard to get into the reserve, so let's check that in the mana. They'll definitely be able to advance at least once this round, but if they play something on the side with Parvati, I don't think they'll be able to beat out the Spindle Harvesters as well, so we'll be advancing too, and we'll have an anchored character going into the next round. Okay, and that Sabotage is annoying, but since Pravati's going to the reserve, we'll still have a card that we can use for Arjun's effect next turn, and yeah, at this point they're going to have to play Amelia Earhart as well if they want to stop us, yeah, so that's what they'll do. But they had to commit 2 resources there, so we're definitely not in a bad spot after that. My first impression is I want to throw Nurture here because I think it's the weakest overall card. But, okay, yeah, no, we're going to be on 5 mana, and I'll probably discard Pravati from the reserve to anchor Daughter of Yggdrasil, so yeah, maybe I'll get rid of Yongsu so that I can still use all of my mana this turn. Okay, yeah, that Haven Bouncer is pretty big, but right now if I play Daughter of Yggdrasil, we'll both be advancing on the left side, and I can actually surprise them with the Nurture and make it so that they don't advance at all. I think I'll go for that and see what they do, because yeah, they might not commit another card if they think they're already advancing. Yeah, okay. Yeah, either they didn't have anything else that they could play, or they just thought they were fine, but this worked out perfectly. So we'll be advancing on both sides, and yeah, look at this board. On a turn where we started with 5 mana, we essentially have like 10 mana worth of stats on the board. Having this Yongsu with multiple plants is honestly going to be really good. I think that everything's already going so well that the Moon Druid's a little unnecessary again, so yeah, we'll just get rid of that. I think I'm going to get rid of the Spindle Harvesters for Arjun's effect, which means there's not really a great way to play around Sabotage, because I'll probably have to lead out with the Sneaser Shroom, but even if they do get rid of one of the cards in our reserve, it's only going to be decreasing like our power this turn by a little bit, so nothing really to worry about. Okay, permanents like these are actually really good for our opponents, and they'll kind of help them keep up with us in the late game, but yeah, at this point we can actually take both sides. Holy cow, with the Yongsu and the 1-cost Nurture, yeah, we can actually get up to 7, so I think we'll be so far ahead that it's not going to matter. Well, look at this, day 4, and we're both working with 6 mana, but we essentially have, what, like 14 worth of stats on the board? I don't know how anyone could keep up with this. We're just gonna need to win 1 lane, and we already are gonna have 9 worth of stats on the board. With just 7 mana, we won't be able to play all these cards, so yeah, let's get rid of Inari. They only have 4 mana left now, and they still haven't even caught up to us on the right side. I mean, I feel like there's no reason not to push the left as well here, so yeah, let's throw the Daughter of Yggdrasil in the left lane. Yeah, with 4 mana, there's no way they'll come back from this. Okay, I mean, that does let them push both lanes, but they're still behind on the left. And now when we put the Yongsu down, that's going to be the nail in the coffin. We're up on both sides, and with 1 mana, there's no way they can stop us from winning this game. And it'll be a pass from them. So we have 19 worth of stats on the board on day 5. Gonna be double advancing again. So we actually advanced 8 times in just 5 days. That's almost 2 per turn. And yeah, they only advanced once this whole game. What a brutal beating. Alright, time to run it again. This hand's looking pretty good. Against Lyra, we can definitely afford to play Moonadruid turn 1 because they usually have 0 stats in one of the region types. Inari's worse than Cernunnos for 3 drops, so we'll probably just keep the Cernunnos and put Inari in the reserve. With this hand, it's going to be hard to have a target for Parvati for a couple turns, so we could probably get rid of her as well. And between meditation training and physical training, I think that meditation training is going to be a little better because we can essentially get 4 worth of stats out of value if we anchor the Cernunnos, while physical training is just 3. So yeah, maybe we'll put that one too. Yeah, as expected, they have 0 stats in water, so they're just going to play it in the other lane and we'll both advance. At this point, I think it's a little early for Beauty Sleep. I usually like to play it later in the game when my opponent won't have time to get value out of the character that I put to sleep. With our only region type being water on the right, this is actually a little unoptimal. We can't just play out the Cernunnos and beat out the Ouroboros Croupier, so I think we'll just play on the left lane instead and trade lanes. I'll use Arjun's effect here to anchor my character, but Moonadruid's effect would have worked just as well. Daughter of Yggdrasil is really strong here because we're both just going to be in forest, so the 5 stat's the only one that's relevant. We have a lot of 3-drop options with Cernunnos and Daughter of Yggdrasil going to the reserve eventually, so without any plans, I think Yongsu's the worst, so we'll check that in the mana. We could actually play any of these spells and then just ignore their effects to get them in the reserve if we want to anchor a follower, but yeah, we'll definitely just use meditation training so that we can actually get some value out of the spell the first time around, and then we'll have 2 big anchored characters. Dang, yeah. Off You Go is honestly just like such a good card. I kind of forgot that it was in Lyra, but there's not really a great way we could have played around it, and at this point we can just play the Daughter of Yggdrasil and guarantee we'll win on the left side. I definitely don't want to play this Cernunnos here because Lyra Chronicler has a 4 stat in the water and forest regions, so yeah, they could tie us on either side if we do Cernunnos. Alright, yeah, that's a pretty good combo for them to be able to get Off You Go back into their hand, but neither of us are advancing, so even though it's a little frustrating, we're not getting behind. With this hand, acapella training can finally shine. We can play it early in the turn and then be able to anchor one of our characters. I'll probably end up playing Sneezer Shroom, Cernunnos, and acapella training. And meditation training will be pretty good follow-up next turn, so yeah, let's get rid of Beauty Sleep again. I'm thinking about playing acapella training here, but yeah, no, let's just lead with Sneezer Shroom, and then if they play a character from the hand, we might be able to get a little more value. Dang, you have 5 cards in hand. Why are you passing? So, yeah, this is great. Actually, yeah, we can just play Cernunnos now on the left and take both lanes. I guess that's one of the problems with Fen Crowbar. Since they can't really pick which cards go into their hand, they must just not have anything that's playable. That was definitely a big turn for us. Now we're only 3 movements away from winning while they have to move 5 times. And the anchored characters on our side are better statted than the one on theirs, so we're ahead going into this turn as well. I almost don't want to put anything in mana, but since we can't play it all this turn, I guess we can get rid of the Nurture. It's tough having that off you go looming over us, but I think we'll still just lead out with meditation training, and then we can get 2 anchored Cernunnos, so even if they remove 1, they'll probably still have a hard time beating us out in both lanes, with them only having 3 mana left to work with. Yeah, with that Alice, they'll at least be taking 1 lane this turn, so we'll just play out the Cernunnos as planned, and we can see which one they choose to off you go. Cernunnos has honestly been super strong. I think I'll definitely try and fit in a third once we can run unique cards, maybe by playing like a unique Cernunnos that's a 3 cost, or just upgrading one of my other rares so there's an extra spot for her. Okay, they're gonna choose to win on the companion side. I think that's actually what I want as well, because I really want them to get out of water. I'd much rather have them in like the forest region and the mountain region in case we draw into another Daughter of Yggdrasil. Thinking about it, I honestly should have probably played both Cernunnos on the same side on the hero lane, just to guarantee that we'd be advancing on the hero side and they'd be advancing on the companion side. Yeah, because if we can keep them out of water, it just makes it easier for us to fight them since our characters usually have better stats in mountain and forest. Yeah, and what do you know, we do get another Daughter of Yggdrasil, and since they're just in forest and mountain regions now, yeah, that's great for us. I think Inari's, yeah, probably the weakest card here, so if we get rid of it, we'll still be able to play everything in our hand. I think we might even use Arjun's effects and get rid of something in the reserve and then just hope that Daughter of Yggdrasil draws us into something playable. That Sabotage definitely hurts. We get really low on resources at the end of the game, and so we might not hit 8 mana. I honestly think though that I'm still going to use Arjun's effect and get rid of the Shroom so that I can anchor the Daughter of Yggdrasil on the right. Hopefully we'll draw into something big enough to use the rest of our mana. Yeah, Kitsune is nice to see. Everything in the deck's actually 3 cost or less, so we'll actually be able to play 2 more cards this turn. With that fleeting, they're really going to starve us out of resources, so yeah, hopefully we can take the game quick before it starts to hurt. There's a smaller gap in stats on the companion side, and honestly Kitsune doesn't even block them at all on the left, so we'll definitely play her to the right. That Nurture's nice too, because yeah, we can use it pretty flexibly to buff either side. Alright, and they concede. Yeah, I guess they just know it's over, because if we advance in both lanes, that'll be game, and to block us on the left, they need at least 4 in stats, but with Nurture, it goes up to 5, and then on the right, they need 5 to block us, but with Nurture, that actually goes up to like 7, so yeah, they must just not have a way to get at least 5 in Forest to block us on the left with 4 mana, and with that, we're going to be taking another one for Arjun and Spike. I'm feeling good about this deck. It just seems like you can put out some incredible stats early on that most decks can't keep up with, but I don't know, let me know in the comments below. Do you think I'm just getting lucky, or is Arjun secretly OP? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for future strategy, theory, and gameplay videos.